All right, well, here we go again, everybody. Mr. Reeves back with you, and we are continuing to look at area and perimeter of circles, or area and circumference of circles. And right now, we are specifically looking at quarter circles, which is why I said perimeter, because when you have a part of a circle, it doesn't actually have a circumference. It has a perimeter, but it still does have an area. All right, so I'm going to be doing some problems out of IXL to hopefully help you understand and also be able to do this on your own. All right, so here we go. The radius of a circle is 3 yards. What is the circle's perimeter? All right, so hopefully you have some notes and you already have the formula, but it's really not that hard to do. All right, so remember, we have this as the radius and we have this as the radius. And this part right here is the diameter times pi. That would be the circumference, right? But then we have to divide that by 4, right? You remember? And we said that actually, if you look at your formula, that's the same as the radius times pi divided by 2, right? So the perimeter of a quarter circle, this is something you should have in your notes, is 2 radii plus the radii times pi, or pi times the radius, divided by 2. Radius plus radius times pi divided by 2. All right, and what did they tell us? That the radius is 3 yards. So all I have to do is go to my formula right here. 2 times 3 plus pi times 3 divided by 2. All right. Well, I hope you know that 2 times 3 is 6, so this is what we get. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and pull up my calculator. I actually have it open this time, and we're going to go 6 plus, all right, and then we're going to go 3 times. Now remember, for pi, we're using 3.14. You're probably getting really tired of hearing me say that. 3.14 for pi divided by 2, right? So 6 plus 3 times pi divided by 2. And the great thing about a scientific calculator is it knows order of operations, so it's going to do everything in the correct order, and it gives me 10.71. 10.71, and I don't see any directions on rounding, so I'm just going to go here and I'm going to put in 10.71, and it's 71, whoops, 10.71. 10.71 yards are the units. Let's submit it and see how we did. We are awesome. Okay, now we're going to go the other direction. Now it says that the perimeter is 14.28. What is the radius? All right, so again, like we just did right here, we have the radius, and this part right here is, remember, it's the diameter times pi divided by 4 because it's a circle, but we've been instead saying the radius times pi divided by 2. Let me try that again. The radius times pi divided by 2. So the perimeter is equal to 2 times the radius plus the radius times pi divided by 2. And they told us that the perimeter is 14.28. All right. And the question is, what is the radius? And as I mentioned in our video when we were working with half circles, we could do this algebraically. There's a way we could do it, but we're just going to do guess and check. Got it? Guess and check. All right. And my favorite number of late to try has been 3. So I'm going to try 3 for the radius and see how I come out. So it's going to be 2 times 3 plus 3 times pi divided by 2. And let's see what we get. All right, so we're going to go into our calculator and we're going to clear all this out, okay? And 2 times 3 is 6. And we're going to go 6 plus, wait, this looks really familiar. 3 times 3.14, right? Divided by 2. And what do I get? I get 10.71. Hey, that's the problem we just did, isn't it? Gee, Mr. Reeves, you're not very smart today. All right. So, obviously, when we tried the radius of 3, we got the answer that was too small. That was the previous problem, 10.71. We need to jump all the way up to 14.28. Do you want to try 4? You want to try 5? Let's try 5. How about we try 5? Okay. So here we go. So I'm going to do 5 times, 2 times 5, right? Because I'm putting a 5 right here, plus 5 times pi divided by 2. 2 times 5. So here we go. We're going to go 2 times 5. Can we put that in? 10? You know 2 times 5 is 10, right? Plus 5 times, and again, we're going to use 3.14 for pi, and then we're going to divide that by 2. And again, the calculator is doing the correct order of operations for us, and we get 17.85. So that's too big, right? So 3 was too small, right? And 5 was too big. And if our answer is going to be an integer value, then it's going to be 4, right? So I'm going to go ahead and say I'm thinking the answer is 4 feet. I put that in. Super duper. All right. The perimeter is 3.57 feet. What is the radius? Okay, so again, the formula for perimeter, have you memorized it yet? Is 2 times the radius plus, what was it? It was 2 times pi. Is that what it was? The radius times pi? What was the formula? See? All right, it's the radius times pi divided by 2. The radius times pi divided by 2. See, even math teachers forget formulas sometimes. Okay, and we know that that perimeter is 3.57, and they're asking us for the radius. Well, do you remember when we did a radius of 3? Do you remember we got 10 point something, right? We're all the way down to 3.57. I'm thinking radius of 1 is going to do it, aren't you? Are you thinking a radius of 1? So let's try that. Let's try putting in 1. 2 times 1 plus 1 times pi divided by 2. All right, let's give it a shot in our calculator. All right, so we're going to go 2 times 1. Do you guys agree 2 times 1 is 2? Plus 3.14, all right, for pi, times what? Times our radius we're saying is 1. Kind of silly to put times 1, but we will. Divided by 2. So it was 2 times 1 plus 1 times pi divided by 2, and the answer we're looking for is 3.57. And what did we get? We got 3.57. All right, are you feeling smart yet? I'm feeling kind of smart, except I forgot the formula. That's not making me feel so smart. All righty, here we go. All right, so now they're giving us the radius and they're asking us for the perimeter. So again, the perimeter formula is, let's see if I can remember, what was it? It was 2 times the radius plus the radius times pi divided by 2. I think I got it this time. Okay, so, but this time they told us that the radius is 2. 2 times 2 plus 2 times pi divided by 2. Here we go. 4 plus 2 times pi. All right, now, can we do this? 2 divided by 2. You guys all know what happens when you do 2 divided by 2, right? When you do 2 divided by 2, you get that. So we get 4 plus pi on our calculator. 4 plus pi. We could have put that in the calculator, but I think you guys are clever enough that you can do some canceling there. So what do we want? We want 4 plus pi, but what are we using for pi? 3.14. And what do we get? 7.14. 7.14 millimeters. They did not tell us. I don't see anything about rounding, so I'm going to go 7.14. And I'm going to hit submit. All right, so I wonder if we can get to an area problem. We've done several with perimeter now. I'd love to do one with area. There's another perimeter problem. Let's see if we can get to an area problem. All right, there's another perimeter problem. Why is it not giving me any area problems? This is very frustrating. All righty. All right, it says calculate area, perimeter, and radius, but it's not giving me any area problems. One more maybe? What's the challenge going to be? The perimeter, what is its area? Oh my goodness. Wow, this really is a challenge problem. They gave us the perimeter and they're asking us for the area. All right, well, I got my wish. Here we go. So let's talk about this. So let's talk first about the perimeter. So again, when we have the perimeter, do you remember we have the radius plus the radius, and then we have the diameter times pi divided by 4 because it's 1/4 of the circumference, but we made it the radius times pi divided by 2. So the formula for perimeter that we've been using over and over and over again is 2 times the radius plus pi times the radius divided by 2. All right. And they told us that the perimeter is 42.84. Now, the area, do you remember the formula for the area of a quarter circle is pi times the radius squared divided by 4. So, what are we going to have to find if we want to do this problem? We're going to have to find the radius, right? We're going to have to find the radius. So we're going to have to find these r's because whatever this r is, it's the same as that. Okay, so we're going to try guess and check. All right, now if you remember, the biggest one that we did was 5. And didn't 5 turn out to be 15 something? All right, so I'm going to try something much bigger to get to 42. How about we try, okay, not much bigger. I'm going to try 7. All right, so I'm going to try 7 and put it in and see when I put in 7 what happens. Pi times 7 divided by 2. This is going to give me the perimeter. So here we go to my handy dandy calculator, and I'm going to go 2 times 7, which is 14. 14 plus 3.14, that's what we're using for pi, times 7, and then I'm going to divide that by 2. And when I do that, I get 24 point, what was it? 24.99. Well, what do you notice? That is way too small. All right. So I should have gone much bigger. So how about 10? You want to try 10? Let's try using 10. All right, so I'm going to work off of this here. It's going to be 2 times 10. 2 times 10 is 20. Do you agree? 2 times 10 is 20 plus 3.14, right? Times 10 divided by 2. And when I do that, I get 35.7. We're getting closer, aren't we? All right. So, do you think 11? You think 12? How about we try 12? All right. So, again, I'm going to go back to my calculator. Do you see how when you use the same formula over and over again, it gets easier, right? So, we know we're going to start with 2 times our radius. 2 times our radius. So, now we're doing 2 times 12. Well, 2 times 12 is 24 plus 3.14, right? Times 12, right? Because it's 3.14 times 12 divided by 2. And you remember what we're hoping to get? We're hoping to get 42.84. And when we do it, we got 42.84. So when you do a radius of 12, you get a perimeter of 42.84. And before you put 12 in here, it didn't ask you for the radius. It asked you for the area, right? So now we're going to go here. The formula for the area of a quarter circle is pi times 12 squared divided by 4. Pi times 12 squared divided by 4. Well, 12 times 12 is 144. So I'm going to do this problem right here, okay? In fact, I'm going to put the whole thing in the calculator just for practice. I'm going to go pi, except remember we're using 3.14 for pi, times 12 squared. There's my squared button, right? And then I want to take that answer and I want to divide it by 4. Now again, it might not have been a bad idea to put parentheses over the top here, but because order of operations, your scientific calculator is going to use correct order of operations. It's going to go ahead and do the exponent first, then it's going to multiply, then it's going to divide. And when we do that, we get 113.04. 113.04 square meters. It doesn't say to round. If it had said to round to the nearest tenth, we would have made it 1.13.0. If it had just said round to the nearest number, it'd be 113. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put in 113.04 and let's see what happens. I got it. Cool. All right, let's do one last one. This time they gave me the area and they want the perimeter. All right, so again, what's the formula for the area of a quarter circle? Pi times the radius squared divided by 4, right? And what's the perimeter of a quarter circle? 2 times the radius plus the radius times pi divided by 2. Well, what did they give me? They gave me the area. So I'm going to go 28.26. That's what I want the area to be. Now, again, we could do this algebraically, or we can try guess and check. I think we did this one already. No, we did half this one, didn't we? All right. So we got one that was 14.13. I'm pretty sure we did one. So let's go ahead and try a number. All right, 28.26 is pretty big when we divide by 4, right? So do you want to try 5? How about we try 5? So let's go ahead and we're going to try putting 5 into this formula. So I'm going to go 3.14 times 5 squared. 3.14 times 5 squared, and then I'm going to divide it by 4. And when I do that, I get 19.625. So that was too small, and it was significantly too small. So what do you want to try next, huh? What do you want to try next? How about we try 8? All right. So again, we're going to do this same thing, but we're going to replace that 5 with an 8. So I'm going to go 3.14 times, but instead of using a radius of 5, I'm going to use a radius of 8. 8 squared divided by 4. And when I do that, I get 50.24. That is too big. So the answer has to be between 8 and 5. So it's either going to be 6 or 7. What do you think? What do you think? 6 or 7? All right, let's try 6, shall we? All right, I'm feeling confident here. Here we go. So I'm again going to use this formula. I'm going to go 3.14, right, times 6 squared. And then I'm going to take that answer and I'm going to divide it by 4 because I have a fourth of a circle. And when I do that, I get 28.26. So what did I just find? I just found that the radius was 6. So when the area is 28.26, the radius is 6. But they didn't ask us for the radius. They asked us for the perimeter. So now I'm going to go ahead and go over here and work with this formula using this radius. So 2 times 6 plus 6 times pi divided by 2. That's going to give me the perimeter with a radius of 6. And again, let's simplify this real quick here. What's 6 divided by 2? 6 divided by 2 is 3. And what's 2 times 6? It's 12. So even though you're allowed to use a calculator, it's a good idea to simplify some stuff if you can before you go in. Less likely to make a mistake. All right, here we go. Into our calculator. 12 plus 3 times, and we're going to use 3.14. And when we do that, what do we get? We get 21.42. 21.42. And again, there were no instructions on rounding, so I'm going to put in 21.42. And when I do that, I get it Correct. All right, so these got a little bit complicated, all right? But really, what I want you to be able to do, I want you to know what these formulas are, all right? So make sure that you know how to find the area of half a circle, right? Make sure you know how to find the area of a quarter circle, and make sure you know how to find the perimeter of a half circle, and make sure you know how to find the perimeter of a quarter circle. By the way, all right, for you should also be able to do the same thing if I gave you 3/4 of a circle, right? Especially for the area, that would be 3/4 of pi r squared. Or what about if I gave you 2/3? Can I do 2/3? Kind of looks like a Pac-Man. All right, let's pretend that that were 2/3. 2/3 times pi doesn't look very good, does it? How about if I do it like this? Is that any better? Still looks like a Pac-Man. 2/3 times pi times the radius squared, or this would be 2/3 times diameter times pi, or this would be, I'm sorry, this would be 3/4. But then we'd have to add in this part here, okay? So I really most especially want you to be able to find the areas of parts of circles, because when we do the area of composite figures, you have to be able to find the areas of parts of circles. And if we were also doing the perimeter of composite figures, you'd have to be able to do the same thing. All right, I hope this helped. Make sure you have good notes and maybe watch these videos once or twice so you can go through and knock out those problems in IXL. All right, good luck to you. All right, bye.